Welcome to the Elementary STEM Coach podcast. I'm your host, Naomi Meredith, a former classroom teacher turned K-5 STEM teacher and coach. With over a decade of experience teaching and a master's degree in STEM leadership, I'm here to coach you throughout the year to help you gain back more time to create innovative experiences for your students. Today, we are chatting about some pumpkin-themed STEM stations that you can use in your classroom. These STEM stations are not Halloween specific, so you can actually teach these from now all the way through November, so don't you worry about that. I also like with this, you can flex up or flex down based on grade levels. So if you need something a little bit easier this time of year, I got you covered. All of the lessons that I'm going to be sharing are going to be linked in the show notes, and you can also find them in my TPT shop. If you head on over to naomimeredith.com/TPT pumpkin STEM, all the STEM stations are in there with some other pumpkin STEM lessons that you can use in your classroom in K-5. When I do STEM stations, I like to do these in 2 days. So what I'll typically do is I have some sort of mini lesson, which I have slides that go along with this. And then I introduce kids to the STEM stations, which I'll be sharing how to do them. I'll share with them the STEM stations. And I like to set up 4 stations that the kids will rotate through. If I do this in 2 days, this leaves time for kids to go to 2 stations all the way through where they can really dive into the activities and also give some good cleanup time. I have tried rushing through 4 stations within 45 minutes, and it's not as successful. The kids aren't able to fully complete the station, and there's a lot more frustration, and it's a lot messier. So if you see kids consecutively throughout the week, or if you see them on a day-by-day basis where every single day you have a new group of kids, this can work really well because you can do those 2 stations that first week, and then the following week, the kids can finish the other 2. So that way you're actually prepping and planning a lot less by doing these activities. I also like to theme it where there is a science, a technology, an engineering, and math station. Of course, there's elements that overlap, but this also helps with my planning where I have a variety of activities for the kids. So with these pumpkin theme stations, the first day you could talk about the life cycle of a pumpkin and how a pumpkin grows. Then you're going to go into explaining each of the stations. For your science station, kids are going to be building a pumpkin, and you can do this with a couple different things. You can have kids build the pumpkin using clay or Play-Doh. I like this Crayola modeling clay where you actually can leave it out. It doesn't dry out, but it is a little bit stickier. So I suggest whenever you use Play-Doh or clay, you use some craft trays, some art supply trays so that everything is contained. But there's a couple templates where kids can actually build the outside of a pumpkin, and there are labels that they can place on top, or they can also build the inside. And if you want kids to save their work, you can actually take a picture and upload it in a platform like Seesaw. For the technology station, kids will code the life cycle of a pumpkin, and you can use any robot that moves for this station. So if you use different robots for your younger kids, like a Code and Go mouse or a Bee-Bot. And then for your older kids, maybe you have them use Dash the Robot or a Sphero. You can do the same station, but maybe the coding changes a little bit. There is a coding unplugged option if you happen to not have robots in your classroom, and you can have kids do this on paper. They could walk out the code. You can also use the digital version where they actually drag arrows to show the code. So there are some few options in that technology piece for this station. For the engineering station, all you need are pattern blocks. So you might have some in your classroom, or maybe a teacher has some that you can borrow. And at this station, kids are going to build a pumpkin where it could be flat. They can also try to make it 3D. And then they're going to count and write how many of each piece they used in their design. You could even level this up where they even graph the pieces that they use. Then for the math station, kids are going to do some pumpkin seed counting counting. So using the cards, kids are going to build the number with clay or Play-Doh. I would laminate the cards. That will help out a lot. Then they're going to write out the word form of that number. Then using pom-poms, they're going to count that number of seeds. For my older students, I also have a blank version where you could create a set of equations. So maybe they're working on a set of math facts with multiplication. Maybe they are working on place value. So if they need to do the word form, expanded form, that type of stuff, but all involving some simple materials there. I also have a pumpkin digital activity that I created that works really well for K through 2, where it's in Google Slides or Seesaw. So if you want to add in a little bit more technology here, you could also implement that as well. All of these stations are super low maintenance, and the nice part about it is that they're still engaging for kids and they can interact and chat with each other and use different materials, but also it makes it easy enough where the cleanup is very understandable and they can be independent in this process. Again, if you want to try out these lessons in your classroom, everything is linked in the show notes, or you can grab it at naomimeredith.com/TPT-pumpkin-STEM. I can't wait to see how these activities go in your classroom. Feel free to take a picture or video and tag me on Instagram at @NaomiMeredith_. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Elementary STEM Coach Podcast. I would love to connect with you over on Instagram at @NaomiMeredith_, or send me an email to elementarystemcoachpodcast@gmail.com. Also, make sure to check out my website, naomimeredith.com, to see all the show notes from today's episode and shop my K-5 STEM resources. Any questions you have, needs for resources, or ideas for episodes, get in touch. I'll talk to you soon.